Hello and welcome. In today's video, I'm working on the 350Z drift car again, and today we're installing a oil cooler. Because what's cooler than being cool? It's ice cold? Well, we don't want that. We don't want it to be ice cold because that's a little too cool. We want to keep some temperature. So I picked up this ISR Performance oil cooler kit for the 350Z and G35s. Looks pretty universal, so I'm pretty sure it'll fit other things. So this kit pretty much comes with everything you need to bolt on to that car, that one in particular. It comes with, of course, a pretty large oil cooler, the bracket to mount it, the adapter plate. It does not have a thermostat. It does have options if you want to put these here or there, kind of depending on your setup or what car this adapter plate's going onto. And of course the lines. Comes with 2 oil filter adapters, so I don't know which one I need. One of those things I'm probably going to have to take the oil filter off and lightly thread it on to figure it out, but I only need one of these. And extra -10 fittings. And why would you want or need a oil cooler? It's science with trip time. See, over time, your oil gets less and less effective. It breaks down like the molecules and stuff in it. And the harder you are on your engine, the harder it gets repetitive over and over and over again, like what you're doing when you're drifting it. So it's pretty hard on your oil. So, which means it's going to break down faster and be less effective faster. So in order to make it last longer, the oil, we got to drop those temperatures a little bit. Because the oil is a little bit happier. Not cool. You still want it to be warm and hot. Just not boiling super hot for a long period of time. And the cooler it is, also the more capacity that is in your system, the longer that oil is going to stay cool and last a little bit longer. And the happier your oil is, the happier your engine is, and the longer it's going to last and not give you issues. So if you're a slidey boy and drifting a lot, it's kind of a must. Very highly recommended. Just think, the cooler your oil is, the longer you can stay out on the track turning laps. This kit doesn't have any instructions, no pictures, no nothing. So like a lot of things, we're just gonna have to figure it out. Should be pretty straightforward, like most other oil cooler kits. So to make this easier, you're gonna want to take your front bumper off and jack the car up.
Twix wanted to help.
Are you here to help?
Yeah.
Hey, I need you to jack the car up. Take that bumper off for me. Let me know when you're done, and I'll give you a treat. Okay, bumper and wheels off, car is jacked up. I also removed my little skid plate. Oh, you did a good job, Twix. Yeah, these guys, my little bumper reinforcement plates, did awesome. They're holding up and made it super easy to take that guy off super fast. So I'm super happy with that. Now, if you have the factory bumper crash bar, it will also be easier to do if you take it off. Since I have an aftermarket one, it should be easier for me since I have plenty of room to play with. Because that cooler is going to go right here. Hopefully this guy doesn't get in the way. I have to press it up. So now that I have access to my oil filter, this is where that sandwich plate is going to go. You're going to move the oil filter and put it there. While I'm here, might as well drain the oil and do an oil change because it's about due. I've done 3 events on this oil. Also, this guy. I don't think I need you anymore. Since I don't run the front sway bar, I'm going to go ahead and remove it, get rid of it. Right now this is kind of zip tied out of the way. Right now it's just kind of extra weight. So I'm going to remove mine to make life a little bit easier. Mounting the hoses and stuff, which this is not something you have to do for your car. That's something I'm doing. Okay, while the oil is draining, I'm gonna start with the oil cooler bracket. This guy, it goes on the lower radial support. If you notice, there's like a little notch here that goes right here, and two of your holes should line up. This one and that one. Now, see these holes? It's kind of hard to get to the back side of them because of the condenser and your radio is in the way. If that stuff is out, this would be easy. If it's not, and I don't feel like taking that shit out. The Mishimoto kit is the exact same way, the exact same spot, and I want you to use nuts and bolts, but we're not going to do that because we got rev nuts, and rev nuts makes life a lot easier. I've preached about this in a lot of my videos, so yeah, because it's a good tool to have. So I do have to drill out these holes and make them a little bit bigger, big enough to insert the rev nut, just barely.
5 minutes later.
Hey, I got my rev nuts in. There only took what, 3 minutes for me to drill the hole, install it. Now I don't have to worry about putting a nut on the backside with a tool, a wrench, and yeah, this is a lot easier, a lot simpler. Okay, lad. First, I'm gonna install the cooler onto the bracket with the nuts and bolts that I threw away. I still need some of them, just not all of them, to mount this guy. Pretty straightforward, just 10 mils. I got it bolted to my lower radiator support. No, all 10 mils, simple and easy. I did temporarily remove my intake. I'm probably gonna have to play with that, reposition the cone and see where I like it. Next is, I have the lines on just kind of more for mock-up reasons, kind of see where things are routing, where they're going to go. Still going to have to figure that out. But next, I'm probably just going to go ahead and work on the adapter plate itself. First thing you want to do is figure out which adapter you need, since the kit comes with 2 of them. Just lightly thread it on. If it threads on, that's the one you need. If it doesn't, that's the one you don't need. Okay, next you want to get your sandwich adapter. Make sure that all these are tight, which is a 7/8. Yeah, make sure those are all tight before you put them on and make life a little easier. You should also put some Teflon tape on these little inserts. I found out later the hard way. Make sure you have the right fittings on your sandwich plate. It comes with 2 different ones. The ones that were installed do not fit. So I'm going to swap over the O-ring to these guys. And you lube up your O-ring with some oil. And it's time to put it on. Well, things aren't going to plan. The adapter that came with the kit is shit, it's garbage. I was threading it on to the adapter. I start off hand tight, went on pretty easy, a few threads, pretty easy. Put the tool on it to start winding it down, and it got tight, but the adapter never made contact with the block. So there's a big gap there. So yeah, so it's not getting tight enough. It's not using all the threads. So I went to take this guy off, which the whole assembly came off with it, because now this one is stuck to this one. And I had to use vice grips to get the 2 out. And now, yeah, I got 2 messed up parts instead of 1. I don't know, it might be hard to tell, but it looks like the top adapter isn't parallel with the bottom adapter. So I'm thinking the threads won't cut straight in this guy. So the farther I thread it on, the more at an angle it got, the tighter it got. So yeah, it won't go all the way down. So I sent an email to ISR, so I have to wait to see what they have to say about it, if they even do anything about it. Which means this car is going to be down for a while, till I get new parts.
Eventually.
Hey, it's been a full week. ISR did send me a new adapter, and I did buy a new OEM adapter off eBay. this one just came in today. So now we can finally put this damn sandwich plate on. So ISR was nice enough to send out a new one. So thanks to those guys for being understanding. Okay, when you put your adapter on, I would run it down hand tight. Don't use a tool or impact, anything like that. Make sure you're pressing your sandwich plate against the oil cooler and take a peek in here. Make sure you don't lose your little O-ring because it can fall out of the groove. And yeah, you kind of want your O-ring to be in the right spot. Right now I just have this hand tight and looks good. Now that I know nothing's going to cross thread or anything like that and everything's oriented, I did rinse out a little bit with this, but I still left it loose enough where I can adjust this a little bit. Because first I want to run the lines first and see where they're going to go before I tighten that guy down. And the way I have it routed, doesn't look like it's going to reach. Look, it's still pretty far away unless I go underneath. And if I go underneath, they're kind of a weird angle, which I don't want it to go underneath. I don't like that at all. Yeah, I'd much rather not go underneath because if you bottom out the car and you pinch those lines against the frame and the ground, you can potentially lose all your oil and destroy your engine and oil down the track. And I like to avoid that. ISR recommended going through here, making a big hole. This is plastic, so it should be pretty easy to cut. So I'm going to try that, make a hole there, taking the lines that way, and see how I like it, see if it reaches. If I didn't have AC still that worked, I would remove the condenser and all that stuff to gain more room and maybe go through that way. But I like to keep my AC as long as I can since it still works. Okay, I got my area marked where I'm going to cut. I'm going to use a 2.5 hole saw bit. That worked out. Just make sure you're not screwing into your wires or anything. If you do this, I went big because I wanted room. The more room I have to get the ends through, and also it's a lot less likely to rub against the side and chafe. So let's see if my lines make it. There I got them going through the hole. Looks like it's gonna reach. But before you put this guy on, you should probably make sure it has the right size fittings. Because yeah, these don't fit these. It fits these. Which I don't know why it came with these fittings if it doesn't fit the line that it came with. Ooh, I don't know, what's the point? So yeah, make sure you put these guys on though. And anytime you use an O-ring, make sure it's lubed up before you install it and screw it on. You don't want to go in dry. The ladies don't like that. And make sure to start these lines hand tight and run them down as much as possible. Make sure everything is threaded right. What was that? Excuse you. Before running them down with my 1-inch wrench, got these where I want them. Still have access to my oil filter. I did loosen all of this and disconnect it from that to get it where I want it. Now I can screw those two back on. Got my two oil cooler lines snugged up, tightened, did them hand tight, then use my 1-inch wrench to wrench them down. Don't go too tight because you don't want to strip things out. I like the way things are running now. I got this cooler back on. Now I know where this is going to live, where it's going to sit. Now I can snug up that bolt, the adapter. And that adapter is also a 1-inch. Got my oil filter on. I tried to leave a little bit of slack as much as I can, which isn't a lot. A little bit of slack is nice to give the engine and stuff to move around, because I've had a bad experience before where the line came apart, the oil cooler line came apart and started spraying oil over my FOS. Even though this was a pretty decent high quality kit, you see this guy? It came out. I think it was due from maybe a little bit too much tension, maybe a little bit of vibrations. Pulled it out and caught my car on fire. When that line came apart on track, it was spraying oil directly onto my header, and it caught on fire and almost burned my damn car down. Luckily, we was able to put it out before it got too bad. But I'm not quite done yet. I did buy some of these clamps to clamp the line in a few places just to keep them together and make it look nice. I ended up putting 2 clamps on, one there, one there. I put it there in the hole. That way it's more likely to rub the clamp and not the hose. They're pretty cheap. You can find on Amazon or eBay. So I recommend getting some of those to clean things up. Okay, now all my lines are everything all together. The only thing left is to put oil back in it. These cords are normally 5 quarts. I'm not sure how much extra oil this adds. I would imagine a whole other quart. You gotta consider the size of the radiator and also you gotta fill all the lines. So I bought an extra quart. And my oil, also reinstalled my intake. I went ahead and added just a half a quart extra, so 5.5. I'm gonna turn the car on, check for leaks, make sure nothing's dripping, and shut it off, let the oil settle, and check and see if the car needs more oil or less oil. Alright, let's check for leaks on the ladder here. And I'm in the garage. No leaky, no leaky. Not seeing anything, no leaky. Okay, I tightened these 2 little set screws, little Allen head screws. I guess I didn't tighten those down when I tightened these guys down. So it's a good thing we did a leak test. I started the car back up. It is not leaking anymore. So there's a go. So while I'm giving time for the oil to settle and be what it's going to be, I can put the bumpers and the wheel back together. Hey, the Z looks like a car again. You can kind of see the oil cooler peeking out. I don't know how long that's going to stay nice and clean. Probably not too long. Looks good. It all went together pretty good once I got the right parts. Like I said before, it's slightly tighter than I want. Just cross fingers, I don't have any issues with that. On a unrelated note, that damn sway ball, I think it's heavy as hell. It's like 10 pounds. It's like 10 pounds of weight reduction right there. Only thing left really, I'll probably do like a quick little test drive, make sure nothing crazy happens, nothing explodes under load. I'll be back in a minute. Hey, I'm back, and I'll give you one guess on what happened. There's a hold. It's leaking. Not from one, but from 2 places. And I was very careful at installing this thing. And yeah, cheap piece of shit. It was leaking from this line, which I already cleaned up the oil and re-snug that line. Did another drive, and I'm not sure if it fixed it or not. I mean, it was tight before, then I had to really fucking tighten it up. And the other mess is down there. I gotta drop the pan to see, a little skid pan, but it's probably come from those same little set screws, if I had to guess. Okay, so the next day I've raised and dropped my skid plate off a few times by now, trying to fix this oil leak. So I didn't record it, but I took those 2 plugs out and I put Teflon tape around the little set screws in both of them and put them back in. The cooler, it was just the driver's side one was leaking. I tightened it probably more than I'm comfortable with, and it seemed to stop leaking. I've driven this car like 3 times since then. Yeah, I'm about to go to my final test drive and hope my 2 Teflon plugs don't leak. Hey, I'm back from hopefully my last test drive. And yeah, I made sure to get on it a few times pretty good. That way I know oil pressure was high and putting a lot of pressure through the lines, and I don't see any leaks so far. Everything seems to be dry, so that's good. Looks pretty good. Should get plenty of air where it's at. It is behind the crash bar, so if I do hit something or somebody, it shouldn't damage it. So, my final verdict for this product, even though they were nice in response to my email and were nice about it, I still wouldn't recommend this kit for you. I will spend the extra $100 on another brand, like maybe Mizumoto or somebody else. Because looking at everything, you can tell everything's cheaply Chinese made. There's no logos, no markings, no nothing on most of the stuff. The only thing that has the name brand on it is the actual bracket for the oil cooler. It's probably the best made part of the whole kit. Everything else seems pretty cheap. There was no instructions. They don't tell you that you have to cut a huge hole in your front of your car for it to even reach. Where they could have just added just a little bit more.
That's what she said?
Length. That's also an issue I don't like. It's slightly too short. It just needed a little bit more length. Yeah, they probably didn't do very much R&D. Since it's kind of a universal kit, they probably just do it on something and it's good enough. If I would have spent the extra $100, I probably would have done this a lot sooner. It's taken me over a week to do this. I had to take the car apart 4 times. I had to jack it up, take my under tray out, mess with some hoses and adjust things, which is annoying, a lot of work, a lot of hassle. So yeah, spend extra money. I do want to say that not all of the products are bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to bash the company itself. Because I'm pretty sure I do have a few parts of those on the car that I'm fine with, cool, no issues. But some parts are a lot more important, like the oiling system. You kind of don't want to risk that, since I've been burned before, literally. But a follow-up on my last video where I installed the GK Tech lower control arm bushings. I've driven the car quite a few times since then, and it's so much better to drive. I don't mind driving on the street, driving to work and stuff like that, because the car just feels so much better, so more compliant. Also, a few days ago, I did my first ever live stream. I live streamed the new Tokyo Extreme Racer. Played about 78 minutes, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that game. But it's not going to come up in my normal feed. I actually go down to live to watch that, so check that out if you want, if you like sim games, racing games and simulators and stuff. But that is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you got something out of it. I don't try to be negative or bash people, I'm just trying to give my honest opinion. I've been working on cars for a long time now, probably, I don't know, over 20 something years. I've a good deal of experience. And yeah, that is it for this video, and I will see you next time. Peace.